Hi everybody, I am Mark Boyett. Welcome to my recording booth. I have some questions here from the folks at Podium, and I am going to do my best to answer them. The truth and nothing but the truth. Okay, here goes.
What song always gets you out on the dance floor? There is no song that gets me out on the dance floor. However, it's not quite as simple as that, because I did discover on a trip to New Orleans that there is a kind of music in general that not only gets me out on the dance floor, but it keeps me out there all night long, and I literally cannot sit still, I found, when I went to New Orleans, when they are playing Dixieland jazz with the trumpets and the trombones. Oh my God. I literally cannot sit still. I have to get up and I have to move and I can't stop moving. It's very unlike me, but it's true in that setting. Check out New Orleans, great town, incredible fun. The music is everywhere and it's just, it's a wonderful place. And you will not sit still. What is the most useless talent you have? So in my 20s, when I moved to New York City, I waited tables like actors do, and I guess really it was even before New York City. But where did I learn? I learned a bunch of crazy napkin folds. Like I can make your napkin. I can take a cloth napkin, and turn it into like a fan that stands up on your plate. And I can also fold it. My favorite fold, I think I learned it before New York. It was when I lived in Texas, and anyway, who cares? And I was working at a hotel. I can do a fold like where it's a neat little package with little like a little pocket in the napkin that you can slip the silverware into. Of course, I can roll silverware up into a napkin and roll it in a nice tight way. I can do all that stuff and a few other things. I can do like a little fleur-de-lis kind of thing that you can either have it laying down or sitting up. These things do not come in handy in any setting. When did you screw everything up but no one ever found out it was you? So when I was 6 years old, in art class, I guess the teacher had taken like coloring book images of toys and maybe mimeographed them or whatever you would do back then and passed them out individually to us. And everybody got a toy to color. And then we were going to cut out the toys. I don't even remember what my toy was. And then she would place them all, arrange them on the bulletin board in a fashion so as to make the bulletin board look like a toy store window with all of the toys on display in the window. And the kid next to me had a tugboat toy that he was coloring. And I suggested to him the most wonderful idea to add some life preservers around those portholes. Why didn't you just draw those around instead of just a bare porthole? Wouldn't it just be so cute if you put some life preservers around those? And they'd be very easy to draw. It's very simple. And he didn't seem quite interested. I don't recall him even. Maybe he said, huh. He didn't do it. And after school, and then the teacher she made her bulletin board toy store window thing, and then after school was over and the day was done, I sneaked into the building because I lived next door. My mom basically owned the school, so I wasn't trespassing. I don't think. I'm not sure technically that's true. It's not like I broke in, but I had access and I got in there and I thought, well, I'm just gonna. That really will look so good. I just couldn't bear that he didn't listen to my excellent advice, and I also thought it would be a real improvement. And so I grabbed a crayon and I drew a I drew some life preservers around his very bare portholes. And I stepped back to admire my work, and as soon as I did, I realized, oh my God, what have I done? This is vandalism. It looked great. They looked really good. But I have vandalized this kid's drawing. And not only that, tomorrow when he comes in, he's going to see it and he's going to put 2 and 2 together pretty easily, and he's going to know it was me. And I just could hardly sleep that night. I was just beside myself with worry. And the next day, I had a knot in my stomach, just wondering and waiting for him to start screaming bloody murder and go to the teacher. And, I don't think he even noticed the troglodyte. I think he just went off and I don't know what he played football or whatever he did with his day. And he didn't notice. And so I got away with it, but I did feel very sheepish, and every time I looked at the display on the bulletin board, I was very conflicted because I thought I was proud that it was a wonderful idea, but I also felt a bit guilty, but no one ever knew. The most ridiculous thing anyone has ever tricked you into doing or believing, I guess Y2K. Shark diving, bungee jumping, or skydiving? Definitely skydiving. Shark diving, I assume when you do that, you're in a cage or no? Well, yeah, I would never do that. I love to scuba dive, and I'm terrified of seeing a shark. And all my the friends I have who are vastly more experienced at scuba diving than I just started like about 4 years ago. They all say, oh my God, you will never see a shark. There are so many people real scuba divers are always dying to see a shark and you just never see them. Well, that was comforting. And so far, I don't think I've seen a shark. I thought I did for a second, but it wasn't like a dun. It was more of a some other kind of shark. I think the guy taking us down there pointed and made a shark fin. He told us that was a shark. It was a fish that was just sitting there. But don't they say sharks can't just sit there, that they have to constantly swim? And it was far, far away and way up above us, and it was creepy, but it wasn't gigantic and it wasn't scary at all. But what I would do is, first of all, bungee jumping is ridiculous. How do people walk after that? I mean, not just smashing, you could smash your head, but also just the jerk up with the rope, the bungee rope. I mean, doesn't that pull people's backs out of whack? I don't know how people are doing that. I took the Cyclone on Coney Island, an old-fashioned, what do you call it, roller coaster. I couldn't walk for a week. Skydiving is something I've always wanted to do. Of course, I'm terrified to do it, and I probably never will, but of the 3, I'm most likely to do that. I do have some friends who've done it, and luckily, of course, as we probably all know, when you do the first one or the first few, you're in tandem with a person. Otherwise, I don't think they'd ever get me to jump out of that plane, but when you're strapped to a guy who does the jumping, well, off you go. When are you happiest? I am happiest. I think I'm at my absolute happiest. First of all, there are some times when I'm narrating and I'm very, very happy. There are other times when I'm narrating and I'm happy, but I'm maybe not my happiest because, sometimes the mouth isn't cooperating and things are mushy, or you have to, go back and do it again or whatever. But I count myself an incredibly fortunate, lucky person to have the best job in the world. I just love narrating, but I think I'm my happiest when I'm when I'm in rehearsal or performance for a play. I think that's hang on. Yeah, I think that's where I'm my absolute happiest. I just love that. If you could go back to one historical event to witness it, what would it be and why? I kind of have 2 for this. I think I'd like to be there when what's his name walked on the moon. Yeah, I'm such a fan of the event that what's his goddamn name? Pardon me. That would be amazing. And I think everyone would probably want to be there and look back and see Earth. And That's just, wow. Maybe one day we will get to do that. We'll see. Probably not, but maybe. And then the other one, I would like to go back and see the Sermon on the Mount. I'm not a religious guy, but I have been in my life, and pretty deeply. And I just think that I'd love to see the historical Jesus and the Sermon on the Mount would be a great place to. I think I'd pick that. I think I'd pick that moment just to see the crowds and see the effect that his sermon, that the speech had on them, and just sort of get a bead on what all the fuss was about. But of course, I'd have to learn Aramaic. What is the best piece of advice you've received? This is easy. Had a big effect on my life and very impactful. If you're making grilled cheese, always butter the bread. Don't butter the pan and put the bread in the pan, as I had been doing my entire life until I got this advice. Because then if you do it that way, the butter gets too hot, the pan gets too hot, the butter gets too hot, and it starts to burn, and there's no turning back from burned butter, and now your sandwich is going to be burned, and it's just not going to... it's not going to be good. But if you butter the bread and then put it in a hot pan, and of course put a lid on it so the cheese will melt, and you don't have to overcook the... There you go. I think you follow. Butter the bread. If you're not doing it that way now, you're gonna love it. Most beautiful place you've ever been. Kauai, which is the oldest, I believe, of the Hawaiian Islands, and that place is insane. My God. And we took a what do you call it? A whirly gig, a whirly bird, a helicopter, up into took an hour cruise in the air over the Nepali coast. Just Google that, Nepali coast of Kauai. It is insane. I've never seen anything like that with my eyeballs anywhere on Earth, and I've been some places. Absolutely stunning. You just won't believe it. Waterfalls, these steep ridges, these thick jungles, just crashing into the crashing waves, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm so glad that we took the helicopter, because maybe a year later, that same company had a helicopter that went a-missing, and they never found the people. I think it was a family of 5 or whatever, and they can crash pretty easy, and I don't think I'll ever get in another helicopter again in my life. I really don't think I ever will. I'll jump out of a plane, but I won't get in a helicopter. So I'm glad I did then. I'm glad we didn't hear about that crash before we went to Kauai, because that was a real peak experience for me. What would be the theme song of your life? I don't know what would be the theme song of my life, but it led me to the notion of just describing my relationship to popular music. I don't really listen to popular music very much, but what I do is I'll find a group that I like, one way or another, and then I just stick with them, and then that's all I listen to for years. I almost can't bear it. I'll be like, I'll think, well, I need to branch out and listen to something else, and then I'm like, no, I think I just went. And right now it's the Alabama Shakes and Brittany Howard, who's now, she's the lead singer of Alabama Shakes, and I don't know if the group broke up or what, but she's done an album or two by herself, and that's all I care to listen to at this time. And you gotta, it's great, and I'm seeing her live in the fall, and I can't wait. And then before that was the Black Keys for many, many years, and Dan Auerbach. And so, I still listen to a little Black Keys and Dan Auerbach. I mixed that in there too. And that was just years. And then before that, I went through a little Citizen Cope phase, if you've ever heard of him. Not sure why I did that for a few years, because I like him fine now, but a little boring. No offense, Mr. Cope. And before that was Cake. I was on a Cake jag. I mean, that must have been 8 years of nothing but cake. I mean, yeah. So that's me and music, and theme song of my life. I didn't even answer that question. I just answered a whole other question. Who would you pick to narrate your autobiography? Oh my God, I would never write an autobiography, but if I did, I would definitely narrate that. What's the one skill you think everyone should have? I think everyone should know how to set a table, and not be afraid to do it. The forks or fork go on the left, a knife and spoon go on the right, the glass goes above the knife and spoon, not above the fork. The salad plate goes to the left of the fork. The napkin, of course, goes under the fork or forks. And there you have it. All right, well, there you go. There are some strange, random, hopefully interesting, on some level, things about